All right, so welcome to fugue analysis. I am analyzing the first fugue, the Fuga prima in C major from Hindemith's Ludus tonalis. I think this will be an excellent fugue to analyze for all those interested in fugues and especially for those interested in 20th century music and exploring the music of Paul Hindemith. So the first thing we're going to do this is simply go to Google, search, and type in Ludus tonalis IMSLP. And the first thing that comes up should be right here. Click on that. And then click where it says complete score right here. Complete score. It will ask you a question. If you are not a member of IMSLP, you'll have to wait several seconds to get it. Anyway, here we have the complete Ludus tonalis. And you're welcome to do what you want with this. Print it out if you'd like. It's on IMSLP, so it's publicly available. Here is the table of contents here. I've been working on several of these already. We're going to look at this Fuga 2. Fuga 1 right here on page 164, right here. So we're going to go down and I'm going to find this. It's page 164 because it's part of a larger series, I think. Anyway, the fugue we're going to analyze starts here, and I believe it's 3 pages long. We have page 1, page 2. Actually, wait. 1, 2. Oh, that's strange. I have another score actually. The lines are different, so it was confusing to me about the. I thought this looked shorter, so it looks like this all just fits on 2 pages. Great. So it's just a 2-page fugue here. In my edition, which is this, it's actually a short edition like this, but it's stretched out to like 3.5 pages or something. Anyway, we're going to start by discussing this fugue. First of all, I am going to assume that you know some terminology already on fugues and what a fugue is. If you need remedial work on what a fugue is and some of the terminology associated with fugues, I would definitely read up on that. I would just simply, the easiest thing to do is just go to Wikipedia and just type in fugue and just do a little reading on what a fugue is and what it consists of. So I don't have to explain terminology here for you. I'm just using basic or standard terminology that you would use in a music theory class at the college level. So this is my own analysis, by the way. So it's not. I didn't get this anywhere. I actually had to sit down and figure this all out myself. This is a really good fugue to learn the form of fugue because it really is almost a textbook model of a fugue. And not only that, but it's a double fugue. This is a double fugue. I have not studied all the fugues yet in Ludus tonalis. I don't know how many double fugues there are as I speak, but this is a double fugue. So we will learn what a double fugue is as we progress through. So the very first subject 1, is right here, these first 3 measures. And I'm going to play this. It sounds like this. And I'm going to point my cursor here. I'm going to point a little mouse at the note as I play it. So we have. That's all it is. Very simple subject. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would suggest if you want to learn this, if you want to learn to analyze it, It's a good idea just to play through these subjects here. It doesn't, fingering is not really important right now, just so you get the subject in your ear. So this is the first subject here, and then we have also the hold on, I have to, yeah, okay. So then you have, I'm sorry, I was thinking of something else. Yeah, then you have a repetition of the first theme up here in measures 4 and 5. So you have this. Right there. And then accompanying that is a counter subject down here, which sounds like this. That's the nice sort of austere sounding counter subject that goes along with the subject here. This is actually atypical for fugues. Usually what happens is you will have a different voice stating the subject. So he actually sort of states the subject in the soprano line 2 times here, and then but that's sort of atypical for fugues, but otherwise it is a pretty textbook fugue. So let's play now, let's see what it sounds like when you take this subject up here and you combine it with a counter subject down here below. I'm going to play measures 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 here. Nice sound. Oh, it sounds, the texture is like Bach, but it is a little atonal. It's not in the same harmonic system as like a Bach fugue would be. So you have this subject here, and we're going to call that soprano. So what I would suggest to do is to put an S there. Actually, no, come to think of it, I think what he did was, this is probably equivalent to the alto statement here, and then this is a soprano statement here, and then this is the bass statement here, which we're going to get to next. So come to think of it, when I look at it again, this is probably not a double statement of the subject, but he's simply stating it first in the alto, because the definition of a fugue, by definition or by the rules in fugues, you really should state the subject as many times as you have voices in the fugue. So this is a 3-voice or 3-part fugue. So in this first section, typically you're going to have the statement of the subject in each of those voices. So we have an alto statement here, soprano statement here, and now the bass statement here with two little different counter subjects here above this. So let's look at measure 8 now. Right there, that's the statement of the bass subject. And so when we arrive at the beginning of measure 11, that is officially the end of the first exposition. The first exposition. So the first exposition of a fugue typically consists of the number of statements of the subject as there are voices in the fugue. So it's a very textbook model of that, of a exposition going up to the beginning of measure 11. Now let's look at 7, 8. I'm going to play measures 8, 9, and 10 a couple of times through, just so you can hear that. And because I have to use both hands on the piano, I can't move my mouse, so hopefully you can follow along here. So here we go. So remember, the subject is in the bass, so listen carefully to that. Okay, I'm going to do that again. Try to do even the dynamics that are there. You have a little crescendo going up and a decrescendo going down. That's really more in the realms of the performance of it. We're really just analyzing it here. But if you do play it, it is a good idea to try to incorporate dynamics into it from the beginning. Now, I am going to play the complete first exposition. So I'm going to play from the very beginning up to the beginning beginning of measure 11 right here. So here we go from the very beginning. Cadence that's very typical of Hindemith's music, is the cadence on maybe a major chord or maybe just an open fifth chord or of some kind like this in measure 11. So he's cadencing in C. Now what happens in measure 11, so if you take measure 11 and you go all the way to measure 23, right here to the end of 23. This is all what we would call the second exposition. So first of all, let's label these. I said let's label this, put a capital letter A here for alto, a capital letter S here for soprano, and a capital letter B here for bass, so you can keep track of the entry of the subjects. So we have alto, soprano, bass. Now, in the beginning of measure 11, we have what's known as the second exposition. And in this particular fugue, Hindemith introduces another subject, a second subject. And anytime you have two subjects in a fugue, it's known as a double fugue. And we're going to discover why it's a double fugue when we get further along in the second page. So the first subject here of the second subject here is in the soprano. So you see the C to the, actually no, technically it starts on this G right here. So if you have G, rest, 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 rest. So that is the second subject. Let's try that again. So we have the first note here, G, G, rest, rest, rest. So please put a capital S right here, and that will alert you to the fact that the soprano is having its turn at stating the subject. Also, above measure 11, if you could put beginning of second exposition. Beginning of second exposition up here. I'm sorry I can't do it because I don't have annotations on here. This is on my computer. So measure 11, beginning of second exposition, where the second subject begins. So we have the soprano going here. It's basically a 3-measure subject. And then you have, you see buried away right here, starting on that C natural right here. Well, look at what happens. We're going to follow this line, the C natural. That goes to here because it's the middle voice. And then that goes to here. And then it's the alto line. So I'm going to play that. We have C, rest, C, G, rest, G, G flat, rest, rest. Once again, start with the C right here. 1, rest, rest. Rest, rest. It's a beautiful subject. So do put a capital A right here, and that will alert you to the fact that this is the alto's turn to state the subject. Now we need to find the next place. You can probably expect it will be in the bass because we've had a soprano statement here. We have an alto statement here. So the bass will come up, and that is exactly right here. So these two measures here, the measures 14 and 15 could probably be considered a bridge type measure. So it's bridging from the end of the alto statement to the bass statement. So 14 and 15 bridge. Now we're in measure 16, and we have this A right here in the bass. A, rest, 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 rest. Right there, let's do that again. A, rest, 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 rest. Yeah, it really is a beautiful theme. I really like the second subject a lot. Then what happens is you have, this is sort of a bridge type material here, so measures 19 and 20 don't really have any thematic material in it. But then look what happens when we get to measure 21, right here. Look at that E flat in the bass. Look what happens. We have E flat. There, it gets even lower. So cadence is a little different here, but with just a few minor modifications here, we have basically the same subject. So could put a capital B right here, indicating that this is the bass's turn for the second subject. Remember, this is the second subject, not the first subject. And so right here, officially at the end of measure 23, is the end of the second exposition. Then we have officially another transitional section here. So measures 24, 25, and 26, 27, 28, and 29. All of those measures, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of these 6 measures from measure 24 is, all of these measures are what we would consider a transitional section or a bridge section. And this bridges to the beginning of measure 30, which officially is the stretto section. Many fugues will have stretto sections, in which stretto means to overlap notes or to rush notes. Usually they're overlapped in a way that they sort of create a sense of speeding up almost because the notes are interwoven. Well, let me just explain it, and I'll be able to show it better than I can actually explain it. If you look at measure 30 right here, you see a lot of these. You have dum. Look at the soprano. You have this B, and then you have. Now, that's not the complete subject. That's only a partial statement of the subject. But what Hindemith does next is then he has this in the soprano. I would put a capital S here, and then we'll look what happens. Then it sort of tapers down to the alto level. Now he has A flat, or actually I would start with this A flat right here. So A flat. So it's just a partial statement once again. It's not the whole subject. The whole subject is 3 measures long. This is only like 2 measures long. Then look at the bass. So we have a trickling down effect. The soprano here, alto here, then the bass. Look what happens starting with this F. You have, or actually that F right here. F, rest. Oh, the only difference, he goes up, instead of like a 5th, he goes up a 6th. And then he cadences here. This is another point. Put a big mark here, a big star or an asterisk here. And this is the beginning of exposition number 3. Exposition number 3. And we'll go over that. So I'm going to play, let's see, I'm not going to play all this for you. That's a little thick. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this little stretto section. And it's really nice. It's very effective what he does here, especially with all these rests. So he has bum, rest, da-dum, rest, da-dum, rest, da-dum, rest. And this is what it sounds like from measure 30. So you have. That resolution there. Let's try that again from measure 30. Then he arrives in this very calm mood that he's created here, sort of just melting into measure 35. Measure 35 is the third exposition, as I said before. Now, this is what makes a double fugue double, is the third exposition. The third exposition here, or the exposition where both of the subjects are combined, that's what makes a double fugue a double fugue. So let's look at what happens here. In double fugues, what happens is the composer will take subject 1 and combine it with subject 2. That means, get this, it's like doing a puzzle. That means that Hindemith has to take this from the beginning, he has to just take that simple melody in any key. He has to take that, and then he has to take this one right here, so that the second subject here, so we have, have to combine those two together. So let's see how he does that. He does it like this. Look at the alto voice here. So you have this G, then you have C, E flat. So that's obviously the very first subject. And then you have the second subject. We have well, that G is already played, so we don't need to play it. So the second subject starts here. So we have that. So let's see what they sound like together. I'm going to use both hands here, so I won't be able to move the mouse. But here's what it sounds like together. They combine very well together. Let's try that again. That is really a perfect combination. Now, here's the question. If that's so perfect, how did that just happen? Well, here's how it happened. Hindemith and any composer, Bach for that matter, when any composer composes a double fugue or even a triple fugue, Bach was also in the process of writing triple fugues. Double fugues have to be, it's actually mandatory that the composer first composes this to make sure they combine together. So in other words, to really successfully compose a double fugue, you almost have to do it backwards. You have to compose the final section where the subjects are combined at the same time. You have to compose that first because you have to make sure they fit together. And then once they fit together well, then you can start, using them individually in their own expositions. So, but that's just the beginning. So I would put a capital A right here, and then I would put plus a capital S. That means the alto has the first subject and the soprano has the second subject. Capital A plus capital S. And I would put up here above measure 35, put third exposition and put combination of the two subjects. So let's see where he combines them again. If you move just after that ends, right here in measure 38, well, look what happens. You have in the bass, in the lower voice here, you have middle C, F, like that. And it is okay to modify notes slightly by flats or naturals if you have to remain consistent harmonically. So they're not always exactly transposed. But that is the first subject. Now look at the second subject here. The second subject is in the alto here. So I would put a capital B right here, and then plus a capital A. That means your bass has the first subject and the alto has the second subject. Let's play the second subject. Ah, that was a surprise note there. Should have gone to there, but I think he wanted to make a sort of a minor kind of sound there on that chord. So there we have the bass and the alto. Let's see what they sound like together. I'm going to use both hands to play this. So we have. We have that. Really nice. Combines perfectly together. Now let's see where he combines them next. The next place is actually when you get right where we stopped there, measure 41, mark bridge. Measure 41 and 42 I would mark as a bridge section, just a short bridge. And then here when we arrive at measure 43, we have a statement of the first subject in the soprano. And then now the second subject is below. Now notice how it was always the other way around. You always had the first subject. Well, he had the first subject on the bottom, the second subject on the top here. First subject on the bottom, second subject on the top here. Here it's the other way around. So when you combine these, you actually have to. It's a good idea to make them combine both ways. One is on the top and one is on the bottom. And then you have to flip it around and make sure that they combine the other way. So it's really like doing a big puzzle. So in the measure 43, we're going to see what happens here. So the soprano has the first subject. And then the bass has the second subject. So we have, starting with this G right there, and that quarter note G. So what you need to do here is write a capital. I would write capital S plus capital B. So we have a soprano in the first subject and the bass stating the second subject. Let's see what those sound like together. Ah, that's a nice one. Let's try that again. So we have. Perfect. Perfect. Really ingenious way of combining these two melodies together. Now, the final statement, the final combination is found here in measure 46. So could put a capital B here because we have the subject 1 is in the bass. And then we have subject 2 is in the, I would put tenor, bass and tenor. It's the alto, whenever you have a 3-part fugue, the alto and tenor usually go from one to the other. So because this is a little bit lower line, technically we'd probably call it the tenor line, or even the baritone if it gets down low. So we have the bass here and the tenor here. And let's see what those sound like. I'll just play them right away together and see what they sound like. So we have. And right here when I'm ending, I'm actually ending on a C. This doesn't end on a C, so it doesn't sound complete. So I'm just ending that on a C, and then these last 3 measures are just a little codetta section, a little coda that he ends on the end. But technically, the end of the 3rd exposition is here at the end of measure 48. So let's try here again in measure 46 and play those two subjects, see what they sound like together. It's nice just to end on the C instead of that D flat. The D flat is a nice surprise note that comes in there. So we have just to summarize here in the third subject where the subjects are combined, we have 4 combinations. 1, 2, let's see. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have an alto plus a soprano here. And then we have a bass plus an alto here. And then we have a soprano plus a bass here in measure 43. And then in measure 46, we have a bass plus a tenor. And then it goes to the end. And then it wraps up here. And it's really interesting, the very last note, it just ends on a C. Not major, not minor, it just ends on a C. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play from measure 35 to measure 40, end of 48, 35 to 48. I'll play those so you can actually hear those. And I can't shrink this down, so here we go. Measure 35. There we arrive in measure 49. Now I'm going to play those last 3 measures here, which are very nice. So we have a nice ritardando to the end, and it just ends on a nice calm C. So this, in a nutshell, is how we would analyze this double fugue. It really is almost a textbook model of a double fugue. And so I would suggest printing this out and really studying it, where the melodies are, where the subjects are, how they combine. And then if you're interested in actually playing this fugue, you can actually go to the Well-Rounded Pianist, where I have a tutorial series on actually playing this fugue. But I think that this video was a really nice YouTube video that will help you understand the fugue and how it works. Realize that fugues are sort of made up of expositions. The expositions consist of usually the number of statements of the subject that there are voices in the fugue. So we have expositions and bridges and transitional sections and stretto. Read up on what stretto is. He even includes that in here as well. It's a beautiful fugue. I love this fugue. So thank you for joining me, and go and listen to this. I will perform this on YouTube very soon after I make this video as well. And I invite you to join the Well-Rounded Pianist, where you can actually learn how to play and interpret this fugue. So thank you for watching, and until next time.